Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to be doing a comparison video between Maison Kurkdjian's Oud de Parfum and Oud Extrait de Parfum. So we're comparing the original Parfum version to the Extrait essentially, and I'm going to give you a full review of both in one video. So here we go, hope you'll enjoy. We're going to talk about the original Oud EDP first. So to read you from the little card here, the aura of this enchantingly mysterious eau de parfum carries the refined sensuality of the Orient, a majestic fragrance with accents of saffron, elemi, oud from Laos, cedarwood and patchouli. So, what do I get from it? I think the elemi resin in here gives it a slight fresh green quality in the opening. So it's this kind of sappy kind of green kind of smell, a little bit fresh. I smell cedarwood quite off the bat, like straight away I get cedar. So you get this kind of grainy, cedar woody kind of vibe mixed, like I say, with this elmy kind of resinous kind of green note. It does come off a little bit spiced in the opening, but honestly I would never have guessed that it was saffron, and I cook with saffron quite regularly. I really like saffron, I like the way it tastes, I like the way it smells. This doesn't smell like saffron to me, it smells more peppery. It comes across like smelling like peppered cedar. That's just what it gives me. For me, it actually comes off quite masculine. I don't think many women will gravitate towards this one in terms of describing it as male, feminine or unisex. This does smell more masculine to most people, I would say. Again, you know, wear what you like. There'll be some women that do wear it, but in general, in our society, this would be considered more masculine. It's got these kind of, like I say, woody, spicy kind of more typically male smells, so to speak. That's just how it comes across. It's quite dry. To be honest, it doesn't smell of oud. At any point in the fragrance, I don't think it smells of oud. I get, you know, more of a cedarwood kind of vibe from this personally. It does feel quite tame or soft on my skin. I think this one you would have to overspray or over-apply to kind of get enough from it. When I spray fairly lightly, I don't overdo things. For me, this was quite soft, so I think you would probably want to spray more if you owned a bottle or if you buy a bottle of this one to give you a little bit of an oomph, because I'm comparing it to Oud Satin Mood, which I owned for years, and you only need one spray of that thing or two. And it's nuclear, it's extremely strong. This is not like that, so don't compare it to something like Satin Mood from the same line. This is softer for sure. So I get peppery, slightly fresh, woody, cedar-like, with a musky kind of bubble over the top. Ever so slightly earthy. I think the patchouli is a little bit more of an earthy variety of patchouli, and that kind of, again, gives it this kind of earthy, kind of woody quality. After an hour, I wrote that the projection and sillage is pretty close. I have to be kind of nose to hand to be able to smell it. It doesn't lift off my skin well at all. Quite masculine, spicy, woody, patchouli, earthy, musky. To me, it has something about it that could almost go in the direction of designer fragrance. It doesn't smell uber niche, but it doesn't smell uber designer. It's like kind of a gateway fragrance. It's like on a step to niche. It's not quite designer, but it's not a brilliant quality niche. It's somewhere in between for me. But why I bring that up is that people that do have a majority designer collection might find this easier to wear than some other niche fragrances. This is, like I say, kind of a gateway. If you have a lot of designers, maybe you'll enjoy this one as well. It's not, you know, like I say, crazy niche in smell. After about 3 hours on skin, I get kind of a woody patchouli combo, a little bit earthy, a soft skin scent. I don't really get oud apart from a clean woody accord in the base. But the oud, for want of a better word, that is in here is very clean, smooth, pale, light. In terms of performance, 6 hours longevity, soft sillage and projection, but I can faintly smell it at about the 9-hour mark, but I would say kind of 6 hours. It's a skin scent that's kind of very soft. You'll still smell it 8-9 hours later. That's MFK Oud EDP. We're going to go to the Extrait now, which for me, I was wondering, is it just going to be the same but stronger? And it's not. It's definitely a different fragrance. It smells completely different. And I don't like the Extrait, I'll put that straight away. So to go to the Extrait, which I have just sprayed. So the notes for the Extrait in comparison is saffron, elemi resin, vanilla, musk, oud and patchouli. So the only difference in notes is the added note of vanilla. And it is noticeably sweeter than the original oud. It's an interesting sweetness because it doesn't smell particularly, it doesn't smell like a dollop of vanillin. It's an unusual kind of sweetness that it has, which the way that it blends, I'm not quite a fan of it. I don't think it smells that good personally. So I wrote that it opens noticeably sweeter than the original EDP, and it almost, this is interesting, it's not listed as a note, but for me it had something that reminded me of Parma Violet candy smell. So just think of a powdered violet note. So the smell of violet, but imagine it as kind of a chalky, candied, sweet violet. I get a hint of a violet nuance. Maybe that's what's detracting from the vanilla or making it smell different, I'm not sure. But I get this sweet quality, slightly dusty, powdered violet nuance, which is not listed anywhere in here. But there is a violet nuance in Satin Mood. So maybe it is also in here, but it's not listed on the notes. But that's what I get regardless. I get something that reminds me a little bit of candied violet. The spice comes across as the same, where I don't really get saffron. I get something more akin to black pepper. It smells peppery, woody peppery, but with this added vanilla and kind of, like I say, powdered violet kind of thing going on. The patchouli comes out more in the dry down, a little bit, again, earthy and a little bit rough, a bit of a texture to it. The candied violet note does go all the way into the fragrance. It's not a top note, it goes right through into the mid. There's something maybe a little bit kind of what you might call irononic or ironone-like, as in smelling a little bit like iris. Other than that, it is similar. I mean, you get the core of the original, but it's like sweeter with this kind of candy violet thing that runs through the whole thing, and the sweetness doesn't go away, it's just the whole way along. But for me personally, I don't like the sweetness in this, and I just don't like the way it smells. I mean, I can't express it other than that. It's just not my personal taste. If I had to choose between the two, I would go with the original, although I'm not a huge fan of either of them, to be honest. To be completely honest, neither of them are my taste. I wouldn't wear either of them for myself. But the performance on the Extrait is definitely better than the original Oud, as you might expect from an Extrait. It does have better longevity, better sillage and projection, and so instead of the original, which lasted about 6 hours, this one is going to last you about 10 hours, at least on my skin chemistry dependent. Obviously some people will get a little bit more, a little bit less. For me, around 10 plus hours for the Extrait version. I'm just not a fan of this sweetness. So to kind of run over, the original is going to give you this peppery, cedarwood-like, musky kind of thing that's kind of peppery and spicy and woody, and quite masculine with a little bit of an earthy patchouli-like dry down that kind of almost steers into a designer-like territory, but a little bit better quality. The Extrait version is going to give you that, but with added sweetness and with this added violet candy-like powdery nuance, sort of irisy, violety kind of tone that the original just doesn't have at all. But again, I wouldn't wear either of them myself. I actually preferred the silk version. But my favourite probably, to be honest, is Satin Mood. The original EDP Satin Mood is my favourite from the Oud collection personally. And my second favourite would be the silk ones, which I'll talk about later. That's the best way I can describe them. That is my take. I would say the Extrait version is easier to wear for a woman compared to the original because of the added sweetness and the slight violety kind of iris kind of tone that it has. It will be easier for a woman to pull that off and be happier to wear it. I think a lot of women will be put off by the original Oud. There will be some women that will wear it for sure, but in general it comes across more masculine, I would say. The Extrait gives a little bit more openness to it being more unisex. In terms of when to wear, I think wear it whenever you like. For me, it would be more autumn, winter, because that's just the kind of profile, spicy, woody kind of things tend to be better in the colder weather. For me, I would say dressed up or casual, you know, I don't think you're going to offend anyone, but at the same time, I don't think that they smell that good that I can't imagine people that like compliments, so to speak. I can't imagine either of them pulling many compliments. They smell okay. I just don't love them personally. They're not great, but they're wearable and they're generally not unpleasant. Okay, so I'll see you soon with another video. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.
One time he disappeared for 2 or 3 days. When he came back, they asked him where he'd been, and he said, "Oh, just sailing."